Hey guys, what's up? Alright, it's Double Deuce back. Now, so, this build has got a lot of good and bad popularity. So, today we're going to go over some engines, and I'll tell you a lot of information on the V12 and some other engines that are on the table here. So anyways guys, grab your favorite beverage, smoke, popcorn, wherever you want to do, because it's Easter Sunday, and instead of me doing family duties and all that, because I don't have any, you're my family today, so hang out with me. Okay, so my last video I stuck the V12 into this custom made frame that I had built. It is a 5th scale version of the Tamiya Bruiser. It has the Yoda axles from RC 4-wheel drive, which aren't available no more. A lot of those big scale axles are gone. I tried to find the Skellinger quick change rear ends, which I probably should have bought years ago when they were available, and they're out of stock. They're not made no more. So. But I want to get to the V12 first. I was in contact with Rhett, who represents the company here, and I guess he had a concern about people starting their engines without cooling. All right, so everybody knows this engine, it revs like crazy from my past videos there. And but it needs a lot of cooling. So here's the problem, but it's not a problem. We're at the dawning age of all this technology, and everybody's like doing their own thing right now, and we're all learning together. So this engine has a steel ring, and it has a Florentine rubber ring as a oil seal. Now they are working on trying to upgrade the stuff in the future. So here's the deal. Don't start your engine dry. Make sure you got plenty of water, even if it's in a bucket or something. Just run the pump out into the thing. Once this engine hits 260 degrees, that's when the Florentine ring starts melting. So, and at 260 degrees, that's way too hot for an engine anyway. These things should run, you know, anywhere from 150 to 200 degrees comfortably all day long. If you can't put your finger in the bucket of water and it's too hot, shut it off. So, now, another update, I had contacted them about a gearbox and a clutch for this. They were, I guess, exploring this. So the picture, I can't even show you the picture because they asked me not to, but trust me, it is the sickest gearbox you've ever seen in your life. It'll be one of the first, if they produce it, because they're trying to do a CDI unit for this thing right now too. So I'll get to that in a second. The gearbox actually has a clutch fork with a diaphragm clutch. Now I don't know how many speeds it has or not, but it bolts directly to the back of this thing, and you might have to change the flywheel out if it comes with the kit. I don't know. It was a third party venture that they had joined with, and when I seen the pictures I was blown away by it. It'll be the first gearbox with a manual clutch in our industry today. They're just not out there. Everything has a weed whacker clutch, an automatic clutch. This one actually has a servo mounted underneath the side of it, which runs the clutch fork. So you'll have to come up with another channel on your radio to engage it and disengage the clutch. And then it also has another servo mounted on the other side to shift it. So I didn't get any details on that, but I'm still working on that with them guys. But like I say, very important to keep your engine cool. All these engines need to be kept cool. If you've seen, I boiled a couple of mine over really bad. You know, that gets over 220 degrees, and even on a normal everyday engine, when they get that hot, you know, things start happening inside. Your valve seals start melting, your gaskets, you know, start melting in the engine because it gets too hot. So good cooling, very simple. Like I say, even run the pump into a bucket of water. As long as it ain't, you know, boiling water, you'll be fine. So now the CDI unit they have come up with, this thing is very, very unique. The only drawback right now is they're trying to shield it from radio interference. Now the CDI unit, hopefully I'll get one to test. It eliminates the distributor caps on the back of this thing, so you won't see these distributor caps back here anymore. It'll be just a plate that bolts onto it and goes right to the CDI unit. And from what I've seen in the video, check out their videos. I'll put the links below. You'll see them testing the CDI unit, and it's spot on, you know. But like I say, they're coming up with radio interference, so because they want this to be in an RC car that's radio controlled, you know. So now that we got that far, I'm still waiting for a clutch to show up for this thing. Right now I've got my cross members pretty much made here. As you can see, I got my center lines and all that, so I can mount this thing in here. Now these run in a counterclockwise motion, okay? And sometimes when you put them in a build, your axles run the other opposite direction, so you're going to have to come up with a counter gear or something back here in your gearbox setup. Now, if you can see, I've come a long way with this one here. I got a fuel tank fitted in it, and you know, I'm starting to like set things together to make this thing adapt to this frame. Now, I'll tell you how I built the frame real quick. I grabbed a piece of 3/4 inch tubing steel. That's all it is, and you'll see here, it's 3/4 inch tubing. I made a bunch of bends with this one piece of tube, and then I had actually cut it right down the center. I sliced it right down the center and made 2C frame rails, and then I mounted cross members in between where I needed them. Now when you want to do that kind of stuff, basically the best thing to do is set up a big piece of poster board, figure out your wheelbase, you know, make everything square, and then you can figure out how wide you want your frame, how thin you want it, where you know, the differences. You can make it on the poster board. And then, like this here, I grab this and you know, I used a cutoff wheel, an air powered cutoff wheel, to cut the 3/4 inch tubing in half to make it 2 exact symmetrical sections. And but you can use a jigsaw, you know, if you got one of those at home, get a good metal bit and go from there. So anyways, I'm going to try to use the Sen GSTE counter gear in the center because it's already hooked up and everything, but I have to come up with a counter gear on top of that to bring it to, because the engine goes counterclockwise, but the gearbox and axles go clockwise. So when I put this in there, it's going to run backwards. You know what I'm saying? Unless I can turn these center sections upside down in the axles, which I haven't had a part in a long time. That would be a simple thing to do. That way I could run a jack shaft right from the clutch right to the Sen GSTE counter gear. So if not, I'll make an aluminum plate with a bearing plate, and I will have another counter gear to reverse the rotation of it. So everything is fitting in right now. It's pretty cool. And now we're going to go over a couple other engines here. Like I say, any questions on the V12, feel free to hit me up because they read them and they learn from our input, you know. So let's get to this engine here. Now, this is the Chuan L6. I got this thing running, and I was really impressed with the power this thing puts off when you're running it on a spark ignition and nitro. I mean, I was like, couldn't believe, I was kind of stunned on the torque this engine has. And them old Ford 300s, man, they had a ton of torque, So, now you're going to see there's no CDI unit on here because I'm having hall sensor problems. So I got a contact Sterling kit. I put 7 hall sensors in this thing. It starts and runs for about 15 seconds and blows the hall sensor out of it, and it fails. And I don't know why. I've tried everything. I've tried putting it in at different angles. I've tried everything, and it just not. I've even tried changing the CDI unit out to another style, and it's just not working. So, but my goal is to figure this out and try to figure out why the hall sensors are failing with this distributor. But I've shielded them. I've done just about everything I could possibly think of on this to eliminate any problems. But once it starts, man, this thing is, like I say, it rocks right out of your hand. It's got tons of power, tons. I'm really impressed with this. So I will give you more of an update on this when I get more updates on the distributor hall sensor. So I basically put all these engines out here for a comparison of size. All right. Now we got the Aussie V8 here, which is the clone of the Conley small block. And we got the Ingemoor V8 here, which I put the Hemi valve covers on it, so it's really not this massive. And I've been working on a couple of clutch things. So the Ingemoor V8 would be way too big for this build. Okay, the V12 fits nicely in here. The Chuan L6 would fit nicely in here also. And so would the Conley V8. They're smaller scale size engines, where the Ingemoor V8 is very massive. And as we go back and forth with things, like this week I ordered a bunch of stuff like a clutch mount to try to retrofit a clutch on the back of the V12. Okay, however, the clutch that I'm going to have to use would be one of our standardized 5th scale 1 spring clutches here. They have 1 and 2 spring ones. Now this plate bolts right to the clutch with the special hardware that comes with it. But the problem with this adapter is it has a cone shape in the back, and that shaft on the back of the V12 here is an 8mm. Okay, it's an 8mm shaft that it's like a starter shaft on there that bolts to the flywheel. So something would have to be adapted to make this work, which involves a lathe and all this stuff, which a lot of us don't have. My SCZ clutch is coming in the mail, hopefully by the end of the month. And even that one needs altered because you got to cut the back off of it, and you got to kind of retrofit it to your flywheel. And the thing I like about that clutch compared to these clutches here, it's really hard to find springs that are super lightweight for these two steel clutches. Even though they got nice shoes on them and everything, they got goods and bads. And you can buy an adapter plate to mount it on something, but you're going to have to make sure that you can fit this centered on your flywheel. The SCZ clutches, you basically tear them apart because they're serviceable. They're fully adjustable, and you just change out the springs in it. It's just a compression spring. Take out the heavy ones because they have the big, heavy, massive, thick springs in them. Take them out, and I have one in my Ingemoor V8 that I had come up with, and I don't know what the spring number is. I really don't, so I'm going to have to, put my big boy pants on and try to figure out, and go shopping, and do like spring comparisons at the hardware stores and stuff. So now the other clutch system that I had is it's an area. This is a launch clutch. Okay, I think they let me get my stuff out of the way here. I had mounted this on the back of my Conley V8 here. This does not throw the shoes out. It throws the shoes into a plate like a real clutch does. And you'll see that it has a corrugated bell housing on it here that fits in all your B5 and 5B, your Rovens and all that stuff, you know. But it sits on the back here like so, and it mounts on there like that. And anyways, the clutch disc on this thing matches this, which is just a steel plate. Anyways, the inertia throws these shoes out, and it gauges the clutch like a sandwich. So, but that's what I'm working on today. I hope you guys are having a good Easter, and hope you guys are having a good time with your families. And from there, this is all I got to show you today. Any questions, comments, feel free to hit me up. I've been trying to get back to answering as many other questions as I can. And like I say, I'm still trying to wait for them to come up with a gearbox listed for the Conley small block, because I know they have them. And they have their own style clutch too. And I have all the pieces to put that together except the gearbox and the clutch and spring itself. So I know it has to be a special unit for this to engage at lower RPMs. So now when you build these things, you start tacking on a lot of weight really fast. And the guy that makes the, I think his YouTube channel is called The Mini Car. He makes that, you know, that really wicked cool early Corvette there, the C2. And even that thing weighs 65 pounds, you know. So as you get bigger in scale, you get more weight involved, and you need more horsepower to push it. So that's what I'm experimenting with now. And for all you engine lovers out there, I hope I had kind of touched on everything that needed, you know. I've got different questions over the past, and I just want to make sure I, you know, cover the bases with you guys. So anyways, guys, like, share, subscribe if you want. I'll put all the links below, you know, for the V12 and the Chuan L6 engine more. Now the Conley V8, I bought mine off eBay. So, you know, just search, you know, Conley V8 and it'll come up, and you'll see his website there. And he has kits, he has you know, various pieces, parts if you want to start building it. I built mine piece by piece, and you know, he's very fair, and he's very quick with shipping. So anyways, like, share, subscribe if you want. Love to all. Happy Easter, and I will catch you later, man. Adios.